Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to an installment of what? I mean, I guess it's a quick view. It's a quick view because what we're going to do is we're going to take this box. That was not prominent enough. Wait. There you go. Nice. We're going to take what's in this box. We're going to build it. And I guess we will review it as part of that. What you need to know, though, this box weighs 6.962. It was 6.967, and then something inside of it shifted. Call it 7 pounds. It's still shifting in there. The weight of the box, it is a very nice box, but the weight of the box itself is not really going to be significantly impactful on the on the final object. During a live stream that was recorded somewhat recent to the recording of this, someone was lamenting, why are trailers for RC vehicles so expensive? And one of the osmium level supporters of the Canyon Miata commuter said, just simply typed in chat, on the way. And this arrived. Now, I want you to understand and recognize that the amount of due diligence done prior to this is absolutely zero. The box showed up. I had forgotten about the comment. I didn't know what it was. I opened up the box and went, that's a trailer. Closed the box back up. I haven't even opened up the box to find out if there's instructions in it. Those are very small. Here is the core of it. Oh, okay. The first question that I had unanswered was, can you take... That's the heavy part. Can you take that part off and just use it as a Howland trailer? Yes, you can. Oh, it's got a little padlock. It's not really a padlock. It's got a little padlock. I don't know if my thumbnails are up to removing that. But the door's open, and there's some pieces of foam, and that is it. You are on your own. But luckily, you're not on your own. You're here. You're here with us today. This feels like a Fender, and it is. Oh my goodness. Okay. If you have seen this trailer on the Amazon or the AliExpress, and you were worried about the my voice is really resonating off the inside of this thing. I can hear it in my head. If you're worried about the robustness of it, don't. That is what? It's over 16th, and this is steel. I now understand. I understand why it's so heavy. And aside from the 4 screws, that attach. Oh, by the way, for regular followers of the Canyon, when we initiated a series quite recently to this one, oh, and there's the screws to attach the fenders. I unboxed, and I said, everybody type unboxing in the comments. It works. If you want to talk about gaming the system, it works. That video. So YouTube in the background operates off these things called impressions, which is how many people that it's going to show the video to that aren't already your people, right? Like, how wide is that video going to go? The impressions on that video went up markedly. Now, I can't say with 100% certainty that that was because of having people type unboxing in the comments, because it could be a search thing like that. People are searching for those terms. Like nothing about this is light. This thing is going to be 6 pounds. Tell me it works. Tell me it works. It looks like it works. If you've been around a trailer before, They didn't have to go this hard. They didn't have to make the trailer jack functional. That would go. Okay, so I have to remove or tighten this. Is it a 1.5? I think it might actually be a 1.3. This goes like this. That will not get hung up on the ground at all. Then I'm going to have to come to a decision as to who is the lucky soul that gets to tow a trailer around. We're going to figure it out. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do together. So, first element. Oh, I wonder if that set screw was actually just there to keep it tightened together for transit. Because now, yeah. Because there are no instructions expressed or implied. And now the thready part doesn't work. Oh, okay. So that part, when you don't have the set screw on there it goes. Without the set screw, the whole thing rotates. Yeah, there you go. So it's holding the central column, and I got it not tight. I got it tight, but not tight enough. So now the whole operation is revolving. Maybe shock pliers. Try some shock pliers. We're gonna figure it out. Yeah, I don't. That is not nearly tight enough, but how many times are we going to raise and lower the trailer? Here's some hardware, which I have to assume is to attach that guy to that guy. Assembling leaf, it is 4 little screws. Are there bosses? Yes, there are. All right. I value intuitivity. Like, how intuitive is it to make something? So far, now, there is definitely the potential for issues here, because there is definitely the potential for me to install something out of order. Ooh. Ooh. They are appropriately tapped, and we have experienced many, and shall we say, somewhat inexpensive thing in the past where all of the holes were not tapped. I can tell you this. In terms of off-roadery, also I can tell you this. If you're assembling this for pure shenanigans and you want to use it for an extended period of time, I will tell you this right now. My recommendation to you is to eschew the 6mm. I would go up to like 10s and put lock nuts on the inside, because I forecast this, even if you thread locked it, because it's only going into metal, stamped metal of that thickness, they're probably going to start to loosen up. Honestly, I mean, for the shens, for the giggles, for the funs of it, we will definitely run it with this, but I think pulling those, it's just those 4 screws, at least from the look of it, that attach those. I would most likely, and by most likely, I mean definitely, remove those. Remove that, and just run it as a flatbed. But it having the removable top for me is a feature, not a bug. Okay. We've got 4 long screws, 4 lock nuts, and 4 little conical spacers. So it is my guess, yeah, okay. If I'm making, and those line up right there, are they threaded? They are threaded. Or at least it feels like they are. No, they might just be really, no, they look threaded. The spacer is the fun zone type of spacer, in that these space out to clear the axle mounts. Now, we've got leaf springs, and the heaviest axles that I can conceivably imagine. I mean, like, there's a certain level of hardness that I don't think you had to go. Leaf springs, this is simple. The hubs have bearings in them. These are the screws to assemble them. And the beadlock rings are already in the tires. God bless them. We are most of the way there. So we're going to have leaf packs, and there's shackles, and here's all the hardware for the shackles. And here's, yeah, this is not too bad. This is not too bad. Would I like just one hastily printed out card that is like, put these things on in this order? We're going to break this down for you a little bit. The two right up close to each other hangers, I'm not 100% sure how all of that works. We also have 4 leaves. Okay, there's those 2. Usually you only have 1 leaf per side with the curly end on it. I don't know exactly. Okay, these will go on there. Okay. So far so good, and that will screw down from the top like that. Yeah, I have questions, and I am not leaf smart enough to wait, hold on, hold. I might have it. I need to cut the hardware bag open. Where did the hardware bag go? Yeah. Okay, hold on. They're in the middle for a reason. I'm not certain about any of this. Okay, there are 4 of them, and they should be roughly the same size. Yes, because they would go like this, right? That's how you would hang the 2 axles. But how do and then this guy goes around like this. He goes around the frame. Around the frame. So there's that one. But what about, are these 4? Okay, all the same size. So we have to assume that goes like that, but nothing really lines up the way I would think it would, because I can only go to there, which means that doesn't line up to that. Unless they're like compressed down. I feel like I just need one side-on image from the internet. They have provided me with nothing. So after locating the relevant pictures on internet, yeah, I would have done that wrong. For sure. I would not have thought leaf goes under the axle. In the photographs, so we're assembling it by the photographs. We're using 2 photographs as our manual. They show the front axle having 1 main and 1 helper, and they show the rear axle having 1 main and 2 helpers. I already think this is going to be way too much, particularly because the space where this hanger and where these are, the leaves are going to be compressed. I felt like the best way to go about this was to build it from our manual, that being the 2 pictures, and adjust accordingly, because I don't know how this is going to go. Also, they give you like 18 or 20 of the screws with lock nuts that you need to put these on, but it's like they give you way too many, like enough to put an extra axle on. Also, from none of the pictures could I accurately judge like usually the big hole is on the leaf side and the small hole's on the frame side. So that's how we're going to do it. And I think it needs to go like this. Well, honestly, I am guessing. Because 2 photos, the photos aren't that good. We're just going by what it looks like. Yeah, okay. Not threaded, just very tight. And very, very tight. So, over time, you might either want to clearance those prior or wait for them to clearance yourself. We're gonna put a lock nut on it because hubris. Every screw that comes with this is too long. I mean, even these, like, they're not long enough to put a lock nut on, but they're definitely too long for the application. So I know from Leafs, you don't go all the way down. That's why we use lock nuts. We want that to be able to move a bit. Now, the one in the front can only go one way because it has to try to squeeze around this truss on the frame. I mean, yeah, so we can't get as, I think that's why they only put one helper in the front, because there's no reason for that. There's no, this stiffening member just needs to be a little bit shorter. Again, is that correctable? Absolutely. Are we building it from the instructions? Yes. Also, for whatever reason, big finger haver tip, if you haven't bought yourself a pair, get yourself some hemostats, because, and then back it off. It's a wrench, it's a grabby, it does all of the things that you need. Worthy of pointing out, methinks, the screws that attach all this together are 2.5s, and for whatever reason, Phillips head. They're the only Phillips head in the entire operation. Other than that, we basically just have the longer screws for attaching the... Oh, we call that in the industry quality control of baby. We have the length, this length, and we have the one length longer, and then we have these little guys. That's it for hardware. And then I guess in that room in the factory or warehouse, get it snug, back it off, they didn't have 2.5 socket cap screws, so we get Phillips head for it. It's not a crazy length. You should be able to replace them yourself. And I mean, you should kind of be ready for it. Like, I think this thing without the top, without the fenders, and without the riser handle guy, probably pretty usable as a trailer. So it falls in. It's a kit, bless it. It's a kit, but it is kind of falling into that. The more we take off, the closer we're going to get to something functional. I think when this thing has achieved its final form, all the way down, back it off a little. I think the less stuff it's got on it, the better. Take off the top. Don't. I have to do it. I have to do it. Just the fenders. 0.787 pounds. 357 grams. Just for the two fenders. They are definitely robust, but my goodness. Also, we would be remiss. I mean, in every tire review, we definitely put one together. There is, I think the camera will pick it up, right? It's unnaturally glossy. And now you see it's kind of matte. It feels almost like silicone, and once it's on you, baby, you are smooth. So smooth. And you will drop screws and fasteners in huge numbers. Also, do you remember just a moment ago when I said that all of the screws are too long? These are absolutely no exception. My pro tip for assembling Steelies, if you've never done it, one of the triangles, that's perfectly framed right there, will always be pointing right at a hole. So you find the other one. That is not quite right. There it is. So triangle and a hole, and you lay them down over each other like that. This only fits one way. They have recessed heads, so you can't fit a nut in there. So that faces the inside. They are 2 by, God, they look really long. I'd say 2 by 12s. And if you are big-handed, as I am, you will really enjoy this part because you are now covered in some sort of silicone on your hands. And now you have to get this nut onto this without pressing the hub back apart. Okay, kind of hold it in place with my thumbnail and give it a little slow turn and hope that the threads pick up. And I think we got it. I think we got it. Yes. And then you will just absolutely ravage at least 2 of your fingernails. You don't need to go full tight on it because you're going to have to kind of spin it. As far as beadlocks go, and particularly as far as steely beadlocks go, these assemble very easily. Just so greasy. Then once I have one roughly in place, I can tell you this. 4 5-bolt hubs is 20 screws and 20 nuts required. That went right in. That went right in. They give you 22 of each, and you will be thankful for the inclusion of 22 of each because I have dropped 1 screw and 2 nuts, and I will have the exact number of nuts provided that disaster does not strike before I get these last couple in. Altogether, the assembly is not too bad. Now, to emphasize when I said all of the hardware is too long, I'm not done with this one, so I'll show you one that's finished. I need 2 and 2. I mean, I have more 2mm nuts. Once those hit the ground, even if you have a magnet, they're pretty much gone. So once all 5 are in there, I mean, guys, they're like 8. When you go to take these off, if you should ever have to take them off the axle, Wreck-A-Knuckle is definitely in play. These are snaggy on the other side. Okay, we can see the finish line. So close. Oh, it's in. Oh, it's a new hole. Remember when I said that the fronts of those 2s are really sharp? I'm not even bothering to get out. It should be a 4mm hex wrench to tighten these down. I'm not even bothering. Like, there will be, these are not driven axles. Okay, we're going to avoid going into the flesh. That's the goal. And we have bypassed, and we're not making a 3rd hole in the tip of our finger. You'll get a couple of them that will snug down full tight, so it's not a problem. They're not going to come off. I can tell you this. It's not a driven axle. So it was the double leaf in the rear, and we will work from back to the front. I like a little bit of luxury when assembling a leaf. I tend to like there'll be a little bush or something that rides inside of the end of the leaf. We don't have that here. We're going to be a bit on the loosey-goosey. These screws are, I kid you not, probably in the neighborhood of 7mm too long. So if you are doing this and you only want to do it once, I would recommend digging into your hardware bins so that you don't have to do this more than once. I'm building this intentionally, only using everything that came in the box. We go snug, we back it off. Because that's, oh God, it's so heavy. Because that's how we do. So we'll get The rest of the leaf's attached. Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, you can see every screw. Like, you don't have to worry about anything backing out, because even the ones that are pre-installed, and bless them for pre-installing the one side, because it took out a little bit of the guessing how much preload is on this once we get it put together. That's a little more snug right there. Yeah, there's basically no suspension. It the leaves are, yeah, okay. Whew. I got right there. I didn't see the end of the middle helper and was like, you just put the wrong axle on. I have this sneaking suspicion, and luckily you don't have to take everything apart because they mount from the bottom. I have this suspicion that all helpers are going to need to come out, and you just run the one leaf. And even that, until they kind of soften up and break in, yeah. I mean, this thing's heavy, but it's not that heavy. Also, bonus, anti-bonus, to remove, well, I'll tell you for certain here in a moment, to remove the top portion, the cargo bin, you might not have to remove the 2 screws from the front leaf to clear it, but you also might. So I appreciate the inclusion of extra hardware for everything. There's basically at least 2 extra of everything throughout. So props for that, except for the ones that hold on the fenders. There's the precise number of spacers, screws and nuts to hold on the fenders. I will indeed install the fenders, but my recommendation is don't. Because if you can get the trailer down to, like, I would accept, oh, the front one. You have to put so much tension on the leaf to even get it into the hanger. And, oh, be very aware, please. Some of the edges, not just the fasteners, but the edges, I think for the front one, you might want to actually install it on this. Yeah. See, it hits. So it's going to be, it's just completely locked out. It's completely preloaded. All right, let me get the other one through and let me see. Let me see. So the rear has effective, well, that fell right out. The rear has little to no travel. The front has none. That is locked out rigid. Okay. We build according to the 2 pictures until we begin to understand that as assembled, it's completely non-functional. That is non-functional. The differential in axle height, that axle is up another 8 millimeters. So this trailer, well, we can do a mock. Well, that part works. Oh, even if I take these apart, no, the wheels are definitely in the way. So we're gonna attempt to set it down. That is a significant wheel track. 245. Yeah, so it'd be in line with most 10th scale stuff. Okay, see if we can set it down without everything falling off. Is that intentional? Is the really super aggressive angle? Because if this is on your receiver and you go like this, the rear wheels are now well off the ground. There's no... Okay, we have a little bit out of the rear. We have nothing in the front. It's completely locked. Now, That's just a little bit of grinding, and it's no problem. So then these would go inside just like that. Oh, they do look good. They do look good. I would say, here's what I would say. I would say decide your trade. Pick your trade. If you're going to run this, I would say don't run these. And if you're not going to run this, I would say run these. Because this and these two, I mean, they, the weight is incredible. It's incredible how incredibly robust they made these. Here's what I'll say. Blip, blop. Oh boy. When they come off of the axles, all the bearings fall out. So keep an eye on, they are definitely 5x11x4s. Every single one fell out. So keep an eye on your bearings. Once you bolt these down, unless you're going directly off of two pictures on the internet, you're probably not going to have to take the wheels off. So here's what I do. I look at the angle that this sits at, and it's almost laid out flat. And then this is at about, I don't know, 30 degrees. It's not going to be difficult. It is right past a tack weld. It doesn't matter. For me, it doesn't matter. We're just going to pull these out, flip that back, lay these down. I'm just going to take a cutter wheel, and I'm going to cut this off. Probably, give me, pencil might show up. Pencil might show up. Just, like, I have an idea of where I'm going to cut it. It needs to be about, it's a terrible line. It needs to be about that much shorter. So I'm going to get a cutoff wheel, and we're just going to cut it right down like that so that this can lay over. And then we're gonna see if this is feasible, because I assembled these by hand. Is it possible to pull this screw out and not have the whole thing self-disassemble on you? Oh, yeah. Because the lower leaf is bolted in place. Yeah, it'll be a little tricky, but we're going to pull both of those helpers out. I'm going to go to my big bin of M2 screws. We're going to find something overly long that has a button head on it. That's overly long. I will dig through this bin. Like, I have tons of this length, but as it is, that is overly long. So I'm going to find something just a little bit shorter. I will dig about, that's probably the length right there. Let me slap one of these on here. So the rear requires little in the way of modification and manipulation. The front, however, like, here's the thing. If you want a bead lock that is basically guaranteed to fit and give you no troubles, then you spend the money. And if you want a trailer that you're not going to have to take a semi-DIY approach to get everything to go together, then you're not going to buy one of the cheapest ones you can find on Amazon. So now, single leaf might actually be two. Now we've slammed it. We might actually need one helper on there. Oh, that's crazy though. Like, we have just an ultimate level of laydown. Might have to flip the shackle. There's definitely some tinkering on this thing to get this thing to work. There is no suspension action. I want suspension action. Also, look how much nicer that is. You probably have some laying around. I mean, if you don't, these are the penalties for buying very cheap trailers. So, I need to cut both of these supports, because even I'm looking at the shackle, right? And if I flip this around, there's going to be so much bow in it that, yeah, our ground clearance is going to go way up. Like, if I flip these rears around, it'll push this up like this. But then there's going to be no suspension at all. None. As it is now, there's basically none. I don't know. I return to the one image, well, roughly two images on the internet. Yeah. Okay, I can just barely see. I have the hangers on exactly the way they are in the image, so that's how they want them. Regardless of where it moves from here, these have to be cut. I mean, this is something that you definitely take into consideration. Like, if you don't want to have to deal with it, probably not this. But I mean, I am as of this moment, I'm undecided. I think, and I mean this when I say this, I think one of the strengths that I have is quite often I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know enough about leaf springs to know if I'm doing something and doing it properly or improperly. I only know about the current situation and the situation that I want. So, if something to me is broken, and as this thing was starting to assemble, it was broken, it's not a problem for me to just start taking it apart and trying to figure out how to make it work the way I want to make it work. This thing is apocalyptically heavy. I have committed to the notion that I'm going to run this just as a flatbed. We'll use it I like the little... We'll use it to haul around stuff. Although there's a certain Wheelie Yellow vibe. If you know who Wheelie Yellow is, you're awesome. If you don't know who Wheelie Yellow is, go on, open another tab and go have some Wheelie Yellow on. So I did what seemed functional for me. If it's already broken, I can't make it any more broken. So I cut this off, and then I was looking at the amount of arc that it was putting on the leaf. And I said, well, we can just reduce that arc by moving the shackle back. We are limited to how much we can move the shackle because we have these three cross members. And I think the camera will show it really doesn't. This one is not straight across. It is not 90-degree corners at all. And neither is the rear one. The middle one, pretty good. But luckily we have something fixed, which are these guys. So what I did is I got the trusty old caliper out. I basically just loose attached it here. Moved it back until it looked like I would get some action out of it. This, from that center of that hole to the center of that hole, is 60 millimeters. Unfortunately, you can't recreate that in the front because that cross member gets in the way. And you need to be able to collapse about that much to get any kind of suspension action out of it. So it's 58 millimeters in the front. It feels about the same, but you'll notice, see where the screw head is? This is bottoming out by the shackle hitting the rail. And by the rail, I mean this cross one. Bonk, 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 bonk. So we don't quite have the same amount of compression on the front. But then I started to think, that's probably okay. More travel in the rear, I think, is desirable. I think. As I said, I don't know enough about leaf springs to know how wrong I'm doing it. These are not going to be used. I'll tell you that right now. These are 5 millimeter. And for some reason, I mean, they're nice. They're like Delrin. For some reason, they're shaped like cones. And I don't know why you would want that shaped like a cone. So we will resort to the trusty, never dusty bin of spacers and just grab some 5 millimeter spacers. Now the fun part will be, can we inject these through the rails without everything falling off? And I think we can, because if we put this upside down, there's absolutely nothing wrong with those spacers, except I get this strong, sneaking suspicion that they are from something else. And they just happen to have those laying around the building. Also, I probably should have pre-drilled or re-drilled these out. These look like they're... Like, is that threaded? That's threaded. That is threaded. Lock nut, strongly advisable. Let's pull that out a little bit so we have clearance. I don't want to run the fenders with the top part because of just the hulk and the bulk of it, but the fenders do look outstanding. And they're height adjustable. We'll go all the way up. All the way up because it's easy. Now, let's stop midstream and see. Yeah, that's decent. That's decent clearance. That's fine. We're down to a single leaf, just the main leaf with the eye. No helpers. Honestly, it's with those moved out to the ends, it's soft enough that we might actually have to put a leaf back on. Oh yeah, sure. If you tighten them down all the way, they don't spin. Let's do that by hand, because the bearing, there's just a shoulder on the solid axle, so if you tighten these down all the way, these are lock nut dependent, because if you tighten it down all the way, they just lock in place. So we go to there, we'll back it off about 1/4 of a turn. We don't want too much wheel wobble. I also, previous thinking that I know that I have an idea of what I'm doing, I put an O-ring between the main leaf and the bracket on the axle. So they're kind of loosey-goosey. In my very limited experience with leaf springs, they kind of don't like being super confined. Every screw is so far too long. You could shave a solid 10 grams off of this 7-pound behemoth by switching all the screws out to ones that are the correct length. I like that this one is threaded. Not as fun if you have to try to put a lock nut on it, but let's see. Okay, so the tire, as one would expect, we're gonna have to take the fenders off. With any alternate. Oh, let's put it on with this and loosen them with the hand wrench. Any amount of suspension travel and the tires hit the fenders. That is the least surprising part of putting this together. That it is built to have no. Oh yeah, look at it. Look at it now. Yeah, baby. But yeah, any amount of travel. Now what I gotta do? Oh, it's fun now. Yeah, the suspension is severely limited by those fenders. Oh man, it's not great, guys. It's not great. It really, there's something about, trailers do often have that open part at the front. It doesn't look right. Am I right? Like, if this was the full length, it might, I might actually like it more if this was mounted at the front, and with the steel rack on the back. I don't know. It doesn't look right to me. The fenders look super cool. My voice is echo, but I can't. I simply can't. I just went through an amount of work removing a bunch of stuff. Oh, and the best thing that I found today, 2.5 millimeter button heads, but they use a 2 millimeter wrench. So the whole thing is just 2 millimeter wrench now. Like, we have suspension. We have suspension. Perhaps even usable. I basically just cut it off at the first hex. So we cut this whole part off, and it's only tack welded in. There was 3 on each side and 4 on the front. So you could cut it off at this hex. This is not physically attached. And there was all of the due diligence put in when they built it, because there was rust in between, because it's only tacks. It's only tacks. This is not, I mean, don't, just don't. I would say don't. Don't. If you are a tinkerer and you can find this thing on AliExpress for like, oh God, what would I say you should pay for this? Jeez. As I sit here now, maybe it will spark some sort of incredible joy when we find somebody to receiver up and have them tow this around on the rocks. But it's I would say it's a pass on this. And it's rare. It's becoming more common, but it is generally rare in a quick view. I'm here to review it, right? We're going to put it together and we're going to review it. It's way too much work to get it marginally functional. Like, just to put some suspension in it. Oh, good. It has adjusty holes, because I don't know. I can't tell if that's high or low. Okay. I'm going to take the fenders back off. I'm going to find a receiver. This is just an eye. It comes with no receiver. It comes with no part for a vehicle. I guess that kind of makes sense. I have a bunch of bins marked scale accessories, and I'm really, really hoping that one of them has a tow hitch guy on it. Otherwise, we're going to have to, A, find a bumper that has a hole for a receiver, or screws for a receiver, and then we're going to have to fabricate something to tow this behind a vehicle. So, is it worth the work? I can't answer that, because we haven't gotten it outside. Very smooth. I mean, it's smooth, and you can do the whole I've come loose from my tow vehicle and I'm just moving down the freeway on my own. The longer I look at it, the more I want to see it without this. And I also really want to weigh this, because I bet this is at least half the weight of the trailer. So I have no idea where we are. I know where we are, but I don't know where we've ended up, or vice versa. We end up with this, right? We end up with this, and it took too much. If you're in the market for a trailer, not this one. As it sits now, I don't actually have an idea, but I imagine that it's not going to be too terrible. 1156 in the grams. 2.5 pounds. 2.5 pounds. That's, you know what? That's pretty much all steel. I would consider that acceptable. What hath we removing? It's unbelievable. 3.31 pounds. Was that just under 1.5 kilos? 1,501 grams, 1.5 kilos. So this thing would have been almost 6 pounds. Like the weight of a rig. It has to be 16th inch steel plate. It's unbelievable how heavy it is. From the time that I took that set screw out to get the nut off, there's a flat in there. No matter how many times I tried to tighten this down, I couldn't get it to work again. Also, when I mocked it up on the vehicle, it's so close to the ground, it would just bang in the ground all the time. All the time. Unusable. This trailer, thus and therefore, is like all the worst aspects of an RTR. We start with what came out of the box. 1,500 grams of unused bits to leave back behind 2.5 pounds that has some suspension now. It's kind of hilarious how much it bobbles and moves around, which is what I wanted. Went to the scale bins as threatened. Found a very cool looking receiver with hitch ball. I wish that the keeper was actually functional, and it looks like it almost is. That will lock down, but maybe there's supposed to be like a pin or something that drops into that hole and actually clamps it down. I don't even know where this came from. Probably off of one of the many bumpers that I've bought off of Amazon. It has hot glue on it, so it was definitely hot glued into something at one point. It is pretty cool looking, and with the 4-bolt, I would most likely, in a permanent location, I would just bolt this to a bumper, a bar bumper or whatever type of bumper it is, because this doesn't really fit snug as a bug in the bumper that we found. What I did, I just wandered around. I was picking up rigs and turning around going, who can mount a bumper? I thought first, oh, the Defender. No, it's running a Benedict Harry bumper set. Those don't have a receiver hole. And then I thought, we have a trailer that is an RTR in kit format. And by that I mean, to get it semi-useful, you take off half of it. Now, we could put the white part on and it would operate just fine. But if you do any modifications to the trailer to add any suspension to it whatsoever, you can't run the fenders. The tires will just hit the fenders. Without the fenders, and knowing that drilling is not off the table, you could quite easily move the centers out and run, I don't know, class 1s. I think anything bigger than a 393 would look really weird on here. And also, the elefante in the room is that the deck of the trailer is 165 millimeters wide, right about 6.5 inches. So you can't even side by side it. Like a UTB 18 is well bigger than the trailer. You'd have to run it in this big, clanky, far too heavy to be useful for anything configuration. It's kind of a non-starter. It's a non-starter. There's no excuse, even if it is all made of metal and it would survive probably a 50-foot tumble down the side of a mountain. I can't think of a reason to excuse a trailer weighing 6.5 pounds. So as RTRs typically, unfortunately, fall into the classification of we got to take a whole bunch of stuff off to make it useful, I thought, who in recent memory has been the definitely in the category of we got to take a bunch of stuff off to make it useful, and also happens to have a receiver on it, and it is the Base Camp RTR. Thing goes right into the bumper, and not only that, my friends, one screw through into the plastic. Try not to strip that out. There was a humongous ball end on. I don't know what you put that in. I just switched it to a regular. That's a blitz ball. So this is a blitz rod end. And you gotta kind of, boom, bap. Look at that. It's like, it's the right height. It's the, these are fully down on the ground. I had blocked it out, I think. And having to put the tires on and take them off a couple times. Then I was trying to work on other pieces. They're just squirting out of your hands. So, there we go. I mean, it looks about right. I would prefer some sort of a wider deck. But then at the same time, you understand. We get it. His track width is, no drum rolls required, about 245. So this trailer and he are pretty much dead on the correct width. But it is a utility trailer. I guess you could put a stake bed on it. But like, you could. I don't even think a sedan will fit on there. Or alternately, allow me to state for the record. Oh dang! I'm coming around. I'm coming around. Wee. Yeah. 10th scale to 10th scale. Look at that. Look at that. And that whole thing weighs less than this. So it's barely even squishing the... I don't know how to drive it. I'm not 100% sure why I bought it, other than I love the look of it. I'm not going to drag my basically unused drift car around on the rocks with a base camp. As much as you might like to see it, look how pretty he is. Look how pretty he is. He's so good. Look at that. He's so good. Do I know how to drive it? No. Do I have a place to drive it? Not really. And sadly, even in the spirit of the aforementioned wheelie yellow, I think it's right here. Yeah. This guy doesn't have the sheer velocity to whip this thing around in the yard at speed. So we'll think of it as a utility trailer, and we'll find out what we can do. Do you want to haul a sedan around behind it? If this deck had been just a little bit wider and you could put a UTB 18 on it, then you'd look like you have a truck taking your side-by-side out, and that would be pretty cool. As it is now, I'm definitely on the fence. At the price that this comes on Amazon, I'm not on the fence. Don't buy this. This is not recommended, because you're going to want to turn it into that. Go on AliExpress or Temu or wherever and find a flatbed trailer. The quality of it, it's got graded hardware, and that's nice. And the rims are not bad for little 155s, but it's just too many questionable decisions. Nevertheless, we're going to take it out and get it dirty, and then figure out where we're going to go from there. You know what it would be handy for? I mean, I guess. Learning to back up a trailer, which is something that I am still pretty bad at, I must confess, because the lion's share of my experience in backing up a trailer is trying to back up a little garden trailer behind a lawn tractor. And I've been told that this distance right here determines how easy it is to back something up. And relatively speaking, the distance between here and here and the distance between my little garden trailer and my lawnmower, it's under 4 feet. So as soon as you touch the wheel, the trailer goes, whew, and it's all the way over here, and I don't know how to fix it. So maybe these two will collaborate to teach me how to back up a trailer. And if that is the case, then I will consider that an outright victory. In what I think classifies or qualifies as a rant tie-in, this trailer, which, yes, I put the back part on because I think it makes for a better thumbnail. There's a synergy there. It is questionable in concept and terrible in practice. With that thing on it, with the big metal housing, whatever it's supposed to be, it bounces all over the place. And I don't mean because of the suspension. The suspension actually works. Can we roost it? You can feel the weight of that thing behind the vehicle, the vehicle, to a tremendous degree. It feels so heavy. Okay, you want to turn, if I want the trailer to, I go this way, right? Okay, then we straighten out, and we go back like this. Yeah, I just jackknife everything. You know what? It looks neat. It really does. This is not the one. This is not the one. Now, if you are someone into scratch building kind of stuff, and you want to make yourself an Airstream or something like that, a trailer like this, not this specific one, but a trailer like this, I think could serve you well. It'll give you a good platform. If you want to if you want to do some welding or brazing, you could definitely attach directly to it. It weighs 2.5 pounds. The framework, which is not put together well, is very heavy duty. You just watch it. Oh, again, speaking of the base camp, you want to talk about how oversprung this is? Look how little the rear end dips as it tows 2.5, as it tows near like 40% of its own weight. Yeah, unfortunately, an 1800, just not fast enough to. Now, something like this, TRX4 on a 2-speed, you better buckle up. You get some real wheel speed going. Yeah, you know what? I feel like I have to do it. So we might as well. Because, you know, if we're not being unsmart, what are we doing? Come on. It. I knew. You know what? I knew I forgot something, and I cannot tell. Right here. Is it the neck on the trailer? I think so. At first, I couldn't tell if it was mechanical or just trying to tow too much weight. Right there, honestly, I think it's trying to tow too much weight. Oh no, he's gonna just jack. I mean, I don't just want to do donuts with it, you know? It really does not have. This is not the off-road trailer, I guess. Oh no, that's weight. That's weight. Get it augered in real nice. The trailer is. Can we reverse straight? It's so much like it's like four-wheel steer, but worse. Four-wheel steer where you have only thought control over the rear axle, and I don't have enough thinking to do it. You know what I did do? I brought the drill. I'm just finding this more appropriate by the minute. Like, the trailer, which is not recommended, is being towed by a base camp RTR, which is also not recommended. So this is a dovetail. These go together real nice. I'm not recommending against a base camp as a platform. I'm not recommending against trailers. I'm recommending against this specific vehicle and this specific trailer. Oh. This is too accurate. Like, we've all watched an off-road recovery video. We can get into some real mistakes and problems with this thing. As a concept, it would basically need the sort of gooseneck that attaches the trailer. You would want that flipped over so that it comes in high, like those car carriers that you see attached to pickups. So then you'd get some ground clearance out of it. Then you would want that deck wider so that you could put like a UTB 18 on it. For me, the UTB 18 is kind of the end of the discussion here. How much do I need a utility trailer? Okay, all right. Can I reverse straight? No. Okay. So I want the trailer to go to my right, so I steer to the left. No, that's to the right. So I steer to the left. Straighten out. No, it's just jackknife every single time. Like, I've tried this in full size and scale. I don't think I can do it. We're gonna do our very best here. You have to drive the trailer. Don't let the trailer drive you. I think there's like 60-40 against. Okay, I don't think any wheels are touching the ground right now. Now we can overcome the weight. Can we? Bump it. I can't for the life of... Is it just the tail of the trailer? Come on. Come on. Come on. Get it over. I don't... I don't mind if we end in a catastrophe, because this trailer is kind of a catastrophe. I'm not 100% sure what it's for, unless you're towing your Red Cat 64 on it. Okay, now if we get that lifted, yeah. Now just drag it. Just drag it. Nope. Come on. Get it up to the top. I mean, what is the takeaway here? How good are Blitz rod ends that you can lift that, you can stand the truck up. You can go 12 o'clock, boys, with your truck and it doesn't pop off the ball. That's pretty good stuff. This is one of those things. Sometimes it's more ridiculous than it is sublime. That is not a well-made trailer, but it is attached to a not very well thought out vehicle. So, Deepwood's doing some work today, though. We can get out of this. We can get out of this. I feel like we're going to do the recovery that we shouldn't be doing. I think the banana, speaking of doing recoveries, I think the banana has a hitch. Now, the trailer can't fit anything UTV 18 size on it, so we can't really do any recoveries with the trailer. We just have to tow you back on a rope. But it is, if nothing else, a somewhat entertaining diversion. Hey, look at that. It just, for the vehicle and the class of vehicle that can tow one of these things, which is like basically what you're looking at, it's not the right kind of trailer. Now, the whole front arm piece is removable. Yeah, don't do it. So, takeaways. Are there takeaways? Yes. Find something cheap. Know you're going to probably have to put work into it. Maybe there are some out there that are a bit better thought out, but if it doesn't have the high neck on it, like a little bit bigger of a tire would certainly help. It would keep the nose of the trailer up off the ground, but like you can't go to very big. But also, it doesn't matter what kind of tires it's running. Like those things are barely tires. And they just have to keep the metal part off the ground. They kind of do that. Yeah, don't buy anything in frame right now. Don't buy that truck. Don't buy that trailer. You can't buy Deepwoods, so that's ruled out. I don't know. I feel like I concluded 30 minutes ago that we were like, yeah, this is probably not a good idea. I guess there's a reason that good trailers are expensive, because with something like this, you you certainly pay what you get for. And unfortunately, this means that the non-abject failure, but failure nonetheless, of this trailer means it's not going to be our last one. Ugh, you know it's not going to be the last one. We're going to have to get another one. I want a trailer that can fit basically a rig on it. I want something so that a rig can tow a rig. So I guess that's what I'm going to have to peruse the internet for. And that is where you can potentially come in. If you know off of the internet, if you know offhand or if you own one, a trailer that kind of is more suited to a rock crawler towing a rock crawler, let us know in the comments below. That's not going to end well. Nope, nope. I don't know how to play knife a spoonie because I only know how to jackknife. I can't back up a trailer. It is my cross to bear. I don't really know how leaf springs work, and I don't know how to back up a trailer. But I make up for that. You make up for that ignorance with confidence. I figure why not? Start pulling it apart, and if you can take it apart, there's a 50% chance you can put it back together. That said, this trailer crawls better than some other vehicles out there. There's always room for additional embarrassment. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for the friends, followers, and contributors of the Canyon for making ridiculousness like this possible. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sitting through it. Thank you for giving me ideas, thoughts, and processes to turn into videos of whatever final quality. Who knows? Comments below, as usual. As always, in between now and when we meet again, please, one and all, do your very best. Have a good one. We'll see you again real soon here from the Canyon. Let's see if I can escape unscathed. Yeah, if it had, I want to say like a class 0, like around a 3-inch. If we had around a 3-inch tire, space it out, put way more work than it's worth, this thing could be almost usable. Yeah, don't buy this. Don't buy either of those things. We're standing by it. Can we get clear? We can. And with that, we'll see you next time.